Well, greetings. I haven't been streaming much because I haven't really wanted.
Hi, I'm Rex Moore with the Motley Fool.
Okay, that's better. I'm signed in now. Alrighty. Do we have audio? Hello? Do we have audio? Yay. We have audio. Okay. We don't really have it. Oh, we have somebody here. We have a few somebodies here. All right. Yeah, my day started out, I don't know where these people get these ideas about me. I'm not anywhere near homeless. Okay. Forget the pedophile and dog fucker shit. That's just like ugly libel. Based on true stories, based on true, exaggerations of things that actually happened a long time ago. Is where they got that shit. Because they got nothing better. Loyal, creative, and brave followers as friends, and some of them are more on Easter Sunday to wish me a happy Easter and tell me that they really wanted me to stay off the internet right now. Just stay off the social networks. Just for fuck's sake, pay me. I'll be glad to, motherfucker. Fortunately, the phone ran out of juice before he got me too wound up. So I thought, well, okay, I'm in a good mood now, and I've had a really good day. I had a nice talk with my dad, my sister. Who the fuck else on the phone? Nobody on the phone. Lots of nice chats and conversations, public conversations going on, and just a generally good day, upbeat. People keeping each other. Lots of mutual ass patting and just entertaining each other. Keeping from getting too stupid. 22,101 dead people, and 1,524 dead people in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, Trump is like pissed at Fauci because Fauci's called him out on lack of response. But then Fauci's response wasn't all that timely either. They knew this was coming last November. And the first case showed up in January. So like in the United States. So like they didn't react. And now there's this incredible shortage of PPE, personal protective equipment. In March there wasn't one shipload of prices. They're just all sorts of things that they had talked about doing. The Ebola outbreak. During the Ebola outbreak, the Obama administration reacted and set up a pandemic response team, and that Trump immediately dismantled. He said, oh yeah, we can hire him back if we need him. Well, you need him, motherfucker. Mayors hadn't responded as well as they did in the states where they were sucking up to Trump. They got big problems. I'm concerned too much about right at the moment about that is here in Pima County is that the highest concentration of infections in Pima County is a neighborhood that's just slightly to the southeast of me. A zip code that's just like over the track. I'm not getting much of a crowd tonight. But I'm having fun. I got a nice thread going with two old freaks in it. That one of them I've known for a lot of years, and the other one I've just met this year. Having some interesting there was still Oh, and this isn't even that new. This is from March 13th. In Montana, a man who registered as a Green Party candidate for Montana's U.S. Senate race was on the state Republican Party's payroll and has a newly formed anti-tax group, according to a review of election documents. Timothy Adams files a challenger Monday against Democratic Senator John Tester, who faces a tough re-election campaign in a race where a Green Party candidate could siphon votes from the Democrat. So they're saying the Green Party is just a front for the Republican Party, and I asked my Green Party friend. Oh,
none other than James Pearson, of course.
Excuse me?
Doing,
who's this?
Oh, James Pearson. How are you doing?
Oh, this ought to be good for a few laughs. I have nothing to say to you, fool. Unless you want to do it in a courtroom.
I mean, I gladly will.
Give me a legal name and address, and I'll be glad to have a subpoena in your hands anytime now. If you show up in my face, I have a restraining order to hand you.
Did you know that time you called the police on me on 4th Avenue, you had the restraining order already made, and the police officers said they were not going to serve it to me?
No, they didn't. But try again. James, you're not a sane person. I don't have the time to waste with you. Goodbye. Next. Oh, I better. Oh, well. Oh, he didn't have the nerve to call me from an open number. So anyway, back to this. Here's the Green Party response to the issue here is like 2 years old. And he says, and libertarians divide Republicans. However, when the people realize the divide and conquer factor, this causes motivation to vote the Green Party into higher offices. Well, that hasn't happened, and it's not going to happen this year either. The people will finally start getting the changes in our institutions and government that we have been protesting for. Again, Green Party isn't happening. It never was, and it probably never will. I believe Jenny Kastner pointed out that it was, I don't know if this bunch of, it's a toy for middle-aged wealthy people that want to get their, okay, this isn't Israel either. Yes.
Hey, Tommy, are you going to vote for Vermin Supreme this year?
Excuse me?
Are you going to vote for Vermin Supreme?
I doubt it.
Oh, why don't you like Vermin?
I like Vermin, but this year I feel that it's imperative that we vote for the candidate that has the only chance of beating Trump, because it's really important to beat Trump. Sell to the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, and if they don't sell him to Bernie's following, he's not going to win.
feel in my heart that the best idea would be to vote for Vermin just to make that stand and show who I support.
Well, you know, that's a personal choice that I wouldn't, you know, I'm not one of those like vote blue no matter who freaks. You know, I think it's important that we choose the lesser of two evils this time because of the magnitude of the threat of a second Trump term.
Have you ever voted for a Republican before?
I actually, in the first presidential election I voted in, I got suckered into voting for a turkey dick.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
It seemed like the right thing to do at the moment because, you know, I come from a bourgeois background. We were, you know, military industrial people that got caught on the wrong side of the power switch with the Kennedy assassination. And so at the time, I felt like the Southern backlash against the government, the natives over the Wounded Knee occupation.
Yeah. How do you feel about Ron Paul?
I don't.
Oh, you don't like him?
I avoid thinking about those guys, him and his father.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm not at all keen about the libertarian position. You know, I'm an old middle of the roader that.
I mean, I would think like as a trans woman you'd be interested in like the libertarian idea, you know what I mean, being able to live out your virtue, you know what I mean?
Live out my what?
Like to be able to live out your virtues.
I have no trouble doing that in the environment that I'm living from the Democratic Party's progressive wing. You know, Raul Grijalva is my representative here, and he's a slugger for the people.
Yeah, you have the most, we have the most progressive politics here in Pima County for Arizona. That's for sure.
Well, you know, gender identity has been protected under the anti-discrimination law for 21 years here. All the development that went on during the Rothschild administration. But now it's shifted and it's all out of town fucking shit. The local queer money's dried up. Oh, yeah. Can you afford it, or you're going to be living in the street?
In the street. You can't afford to live in San Francisco.
I wouldn't even try. So is this Paraiso gaming me or somebody else?
What are you thinking of, Bobby? Come on now. Come on, man. I'm just trying to chat with you, man. I'm not trying to have no issues.
It's too late, man. Go chug bleach. Is anybody in the chatter? Nope. Hardly anybody watching either. I guess I attracted only an idiot. I'm just gonna be here at my desk looking at shit and talking to my friends. If anybody, I'll check the chatter every little bit, see who shows up. Yes.
Why do you want me to check?
Mr. Pariso, you and I are never going to meet under any circumstances except ones that are very dangerous to you or in a courtroom. Do you understand me? You will not get that gun out before you're on the ground with my foot on your throat. Caught Facebook cold discriminating against me tonight. Yeah, don't even bother trying to call Jim. I'm not going to talk to you. You're really not a sane person. And you're libeling the fuck out of me. And you cost me a lot of money last year, and it fell out into this year too. So you and I have a date with the judge. Or you can come and try and attack me in person and see how well you do. To read for you, for anybody who's here. I'm sure it's just bots and assholes if there's only 3 people. Oh, we're up to 5, and nobody's saying anything. So, like, talk to me. So let me know who's here, and I'll be glad to talk about anything you like. It's QuarantEaster. I had a wonderful, wonderful time today with my restaurant and convenience store shrinkage because there wasn't anything there. I never come away from restaurants, fast food places, because they haven't pulled the trash since Friday morning. So everything's like up high. I get at it easily. And there wasn't anything in any of them, hardly. Got a few sandwiches from the Quick Mart, from the Circle K, Little Caesars, nothing at the wing place. That was where the few little tidbits was at the wing stop. Jack in the Box, Burger King, nothing. The other bunch of people that are kind of high in my prayer are the queer kids who are living with parents that do not accept their identity. And they don't have their schoolmates. They don't have any of the supports that they have outside of the home available to them right now. So us older queer folk and the parents of queer kids that are happy are households because they're hurting real bad right now. What's your favorite word to use in place of fuck in front of the kids? Mine's fuck. Okay, so here's the one that I should really back up to the beginning of the day and come up to the now. That's what I should do. Here's a cool meme. It's amazing how badly we're screwing up an apocalypse on the easy setting. We're clearly not ready for zombies or aliens. It's never really miserable. And then, so 7 hours ago was about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I was downtown streaming. Can't find it. Okay, we're getting there. I never even got to see this. Okay, that's when I got up, I think. Okay, my first post of the day was to share my friends. Happy Easter, everyone. Stay healthy. Stay safe. I love you. And I shared it with the comment, I'm lazy, what Lonnie said. Love is the only way out of here, and it starts with loving yourself. Live your life loving living, and loving creatures will fill your life. Don't worry about it if there aren't many humans among them. Living love is what's important. It's what Jesus wanted us to do. And then I wanted to listen to Jesus Christ Superstar and Godspell today. So I started the Superstar and was listening to that. And then I wrote my Easter message to everybody. This is a message for the evangelical Taliban and the Al Qaeda. And I lifted a comment to build it on from a friend's thread. Anyone criticizes Trump. I've even been told by one of them that I should be executed. This was a thread with intersex people. I have no idea what sort of God they follow or how they reconcile their vile comments with a God of love. So I turned my back on them and do not waste more time trying to understand. You've had so much more to contend with than I could ever bear. The thread was Anunnaki Ray's. He's pretty much my transmasculine intersex female counterpart in this struggle, playing pretty much the same role. I should go and look at that because that was where the deep shit was between me and him this morning. That there's so much just misinformation, myths that aren't at all true about intersex and transgender people, that people like Naki and myself are constantly having to educate people about what's invalid about the reasoning. The biological sex thing is just, that's all bullshit, because the only thing binary about sex in humans is the type of gamete that they produce. Beyond that, the structure of the genitals and secondary sexual characteristics and psychological gender, there's too much variation to call everybody male or female. And this is something that's slowly being learned. It's something that medical science has demonstrated very, very. You know, homosexuality, you know, same-sex attraction and transgender identities have clearly been proven not to be mental disorders. It's just something that happens. And these things are, you know, we had a terrible image problem right up until about 2015 when it became obvious because the kids were starting to show up on the scene. And it's like, well, hey, look, they're not all going to grow up to be porn stars, okay? And you know, we're not all just like insane sex fiends like you see in the porn movies or, you know, drag shows or any of this shit. This is not transgender people. Drag is specifically performance art. It's a performance art. It has nothing to do with any of it. But many drag performers are actually transsexual. It was very common in my generation. What was her name? Mimi Marks, I think. That was how they transitioned. That's how they paid for their transition, was performing drag. Emily Fishbaugh with Laverne Cox started out in drag. Emily Fishbaum is, you know, she's out there, you know, she's like only 19 years old and she's out there doing drag. I think she might have just become the youngest person in America to ever get this surgery too. She wasn't quite 18 when they operated on her. I don't think they've ever done it on anybody. I'd have to look. I don't think they've ever done it on anybody before. For these like hypocritical fake Christians, she's an interesting character herself. You know, it's just so fucked up for the parents of these kids that are supporting their kids' identity to be accused of transing their kids and child abuse and all this other happy horse shit, when the real abuse is from forcing the kids into a gender role that's unnatural for them. There's where the real abuse is. And here they are trying to legislate against affirmative gender care for these children. And it's just insane. The junk science that they're quoting, the misinterpreted Bible passages, all of it, it's all garbage. Not be discriminated against for being that way. We're going to find out in June. Let me find that dialogue with Naki was from this morning. That got real deep because what he had written, his Easter message was really sad. Let me just go to his wall. The Chinese wall is no longer a fortress and Mecca is empty. Hugs and kisses suddenly become weapons, and not visiting parents and friends becomes an act of love. I think it's sending us a message. You are not necessary. The air, earth, water, and sky without you are fine. When you come back, remember that you are my guests, not my masters. The air has never been cleaner. Let me open up my comment. This is just so. But this is important too. It was a different. I might be confused. There was a lot going on today. It was hard to keep track, you know, between everything, and the computer was being sluggish. Dear COVID-19 and those reading this, this is the first time in 17 years my family will not be celebrating Easter in the Christian traditional way that we have in the past. We will not be coloring eggs, sharing candy, or other gifts in baskets. This is in pure grief of COVID-19 and all the Christian hate my family has received. It is also in honor of all those suffering and all those who have died from COVID-19. I'm tired and in grief. The Easter Bunny can't fake it today. All the Christian haters and those who have harmed and judged my family have beat the Easter out of me. COVID-19 and all the death toll has awakened me to no longer enabling such haters by standing by them and calling myself Christian now. I refuse to do it. I'm interfaith now. If I've lost you as a friend, I do not care. I've lost so many Christian friends, I now see through your lies. This is not love. This is not the God of my understanding. The God of my understanding has nothing to do with this judgment. Implicit and explicit bias, an outright ignorant statement of judgment and hate. Is Jesus still in my life? Yes, but not in the same way, never again. We feel like sitting ducks, waiting for our number to come up. My family and I have lost so much. I hope more suffering not to come to us. I don't know if I can handle more. Due to prejudice, we are just a family of 5. Our family tree for school projects is just the 5 of us now. A new family tree, free of all the Christians that abandoned and left us. I work on my book so that if I do die from COVID-19, it will live on. I want to remain a realist if I can. Please feel safe and smart. Stay safe and smart if you're reading this. I know my friends list is filled with those who are medically fragile too. Know you are loved, and I'm always just a private message away. If you have a gift, joke, or gratitude you'd like to share to lift my family spirits, please do so. Much love all this mournful Easter. Thank you. And then he put the lyrics to Give Me Love from George Harrison in there. I wasn't going to kill anybody for him when he showed up. You know, if he couldn't do it himself, it wasn't going to happen. You know, the deal is I don't kill anybody until he gets here. And once he gets here, if he's expecting me to kill anybody, it ain't happening. So what I said to that was, as a Jew, it's difficult for me to sit and watch fake Christians wielding the history of my family as a weapon, completely out of context from the original intent, particularly when it comes to passing judgment in general and passing it on people whose sexuality or gender identity isn't cisgender or heterosexual in particular. These are my siblings, and I can't stand idly by while there are people trying to exterminate people like me. When the Torah law commands us to love God and all that is of God, which is everything, ourselves included, with every fiber of our being, every waking moment of our lives, there are no exceptions for people who are queer, follow a different religion, are mentally disabled, physically deformed, diseased, widowed, or orphaned. On the contrary, we're instructed to show more love to these people, not to stigmatize, vilify, and excommunicate them, but to feed them, shelter them, and help them heal. Though I am born to the clan Kohen of the tribe Levi, who are the children of Aaron and entrusted with the high priest duties, I was educated by a prominent anti-Zionist rabbi who was very proactive in building interfaith bridges. I think a better term for the religion you've chosen to follow is omnism, which draws the best elements of all the religions together. Since religion and politics are so intimately intertwined, I like to call myself a devout eclectic and staunch middle of the roader. Keep your eyes on the future, my friend. Let this be your last sad post today. Focus on the joy of redemption and rebirth that we're supposed to celebrate today. And then someone came in and said, I like the old Judaic texts because they included 6 sexes. Yeah, this is where the conversation got deep between me and Naki. My response, I brought a link to that's titled More Than Six Just Female, Male and Female, the 6 Genders in Ancient Jewish Literature, Ancient Jewish Texts. If I had been born at the time of Jesus, I would have been labeled androgynous or tumtum and left to my own devices as to how I wanted to present myself. Here's the Orthodox summary of it. I do take exception to their using it synonymous with hermaphrodite when that term is much broad, when the androgynous is a much broader term. I've been laid up this time of year for the last 10 years, drowning in snot from my allergies. And this year, I've been eating bee pollen and not having anywhere near as bad of trouble as usual. So anyway, so here's the orthodox summary to it. I, Naki, and numerous others in the group are not hermaphrodite. It's like I said before, there's too much variation there. And the ancient Hebrews recognized that. I think this is just a bad translation by the rabbis who put this page together. I don't know what was down there before they fiddled with it, but I suspect it was internal testicles and a blind vagina. Things are in all the wrong places. And Naki came in to point out that about Tumtum is like, we've walked among you since the first humans have walked the earth. Last I was called Tumtum or androgynos. And I took arguments against homosexual and non-binary identities. And I gave them a Google search. And here's where it got. Here's where it got deep. He said, I just wish these articles would stop conflating sex with gender. It confuses people. And I told him that seems to be a key clarification we're supposed to be making on behalf of the universal order of things, Naki. People need to learn how sex only refers to what kind of gametes your gonads produce. Beyond that, there's too much physical and psychological variation to label everybody male or female, and to demand certain standards of behavior, grooming, and attire based on what your sex is nothing more than a totally unnatural cultural construct imposed on us by Judeo-Christian imperialist colonialism. There are over 1,500 species that engage in homosexual pair bonding, and numerous ones that change sexes as well. Most indigenous cultures at least tolerate gender variance, if not raise gender variant people to positions of importance in the community as healers and war chiefs. The sex of my gonads is male. The gender of my brain is female. My physique is gender ambiguous. My pronouns are she, her. I don't deny my aspect, but you don't want to meet him. My friends are always watching out for signs that I'm contemplating how to get away from somebody without hurting them. I'm a trans feminine intersex male. End of discussion. Most people get it when I tell them I'm not male. A closer look is usually plenty, and most apologize for getting it wrong, to which I always tell them I expect it and I appreciate their understanding. Tucson is really special. Gender expression has been protected under the anti-discrimination law for the past 21 years. There are a lot of really obviously trans-masculine and trans-feminine people around town, and quite a few more who pass flawlessly. Some of the trans guys, I didn't know for like almost 2 years about one of them until somebody else outed him to me. So it's like, oh? Anybody who has a problem with it keeps it to themselves because they're likely to get jumped by bystanders or harshed on by their girlfriends. So Naki's response was, my sex is the internet, and likely to be wrong again. Most assume my gender would be intersex or intergender or non-binary. Most assume since I'm such a pretty boy, I love pretty things and wanted to be with guys. I was assigned right as a girl. Nope. This is when he was little. Anyway, let's see if anybody's saying anything. Gender is very complex, for sure. Let's see if there's anything else worth reading here. That was like what was really important. Oh boy. This is not a virus to mess with. Stay home and stay well. COVID-19 is not just a respiratory disorder, Dr. Harlan Krumholtz, a cardiologist at Yale University, told the paper. It can affect the heart, liver, kidneys, brain, the endocrine system, and blood system. Inflammation from the body's immune response has been linked to strokes and heart attacks. Researchers also wonder if the coronavirus that causes COVID-19 might lie dormant in the body for years or even decades and then spring back to life in the same way that the herpes virus that causes chickenpox can reemerge as singles. Yippee. No, this is not the seasonal flu. It's at least 10. It's much more stealthy. Flu, the onset and symptoms are just wham. This can sit in you for a couple of weeks before it shows up, which has you surviving, are coming away with permanent organ damage. Impaired liver and heart function on multiple studies of recovered patients from China. There was something earlier this morning saying there wasn't really, they thought there wasn't exactly a respiratory disorder so much as a blood disorder that was messing with the hemoglobin production, which is why they're getting oxygen starved. The hemoglobin, it affects the ability of the cells to bind the oxygen to hemoglobin or something. Crazy. So I guess the AMBeasts didn't want to show up tonight. I'll go take a look. So I'm gonna see what's. Go take a look at their crap. See if there's hard. they I haven't been around there much. So they're like getting on each other. I now have yeah, we got Sneasel is an asshole. Same with him. You know, these people have no balls. They're just like cowards that are they're sadomasochistic voyeurs with Schadenfreude addiction. They get off on pissing people off. Oh Jesus! What a fucking idiot! Sad motherfucker. Let's see what he's saying. I'm not even gonna give him the benefit of the exposure of reading this bullshit. This kid's got a real problem. It's got to be really frustrating for him to not have any audience for this bullshit besides these idiots. So nobody, you know, it's. I won't say nobody because they managed to get people to believe it. That cost me the ability to be in places. It's happening in the real world, and I don't like that at all. This is my immune booster, little echinacea golden seal tincture. Sorry, motherfuckers. Do I look sick to any of you? I was talking with my dad the other day, and when I was in my 20s, and I'm 65 now. When I was in my 20s, that was nearly dead, and I certainly am not anywhere near dead. I'm really amazed at how well my internal organs are working. My body's been broken enough to where I got chronic pains and fucking losers. It's just total. You're losers. You're all fucking losers. You're pathetic losers. You have no audience other than each other. Fucking jerks. So see, there's not many people here, and nobody's saying anything. So I don't need to be talking. Oh, and this is when I go out in public, we're supposed to wear a mask, Sneasel. And little maggot, I now have 3 solid co-plaintiffs, and one of them has nothing to do with Kiwi Farms or another message board. I have a witness to the conspiracy against me that is coming down from corporate interests. And I've also made contact with another group of people who are targeted for different reasons, completely different reasons. So like there's kind of 2 separate class action suits trying to come together. We're kind of comparing notes at this point. So like, namaste, motherfuckers. You're gonna lose. You're already losing. I mean, you've been losing for years. Okay. If you think I look sick, if you think I look decrepit and old, you need to get your eyes examined, boys. Sorry. I'm 65 years old. I'm in really good shape. And I can still beat the fuck out of any of you, I'm sure. Okay? So I'm definitely going to destroy you in a court of law if I can ever get you there. And you know it. You all know it. Israel was afraid. Israel's afraid. They're all afraid of me getting any kind of wide recognition. You know, they need to keep my distribution tight because what I write is much too dangerous to the status quo. Let me see what here. As I've been following this straight along real carefully, and asshole grabbed something from February 27th. Let's see let me just read what it was. I've been working from the raw stats. At one point, before very much was known about it, here's Sneasel. What does Tom look like when he swallows random guys' loads? Well, I've never swallowed any guy's load. So what do you look like when you're doing it? Because it's obviously something that you do. So here's what I was thinking about this on February 27th. So you want the theory of this old unstable malcontent and I mean, it's just idiots, just total idiots. I've been following this from legitimate sources, and there's definitely exploitation for profit going on many levels, especially in the Trump in the Trump family. They have connections to the manufacturers of hydroxychloroquine and remdesivir. They just fucking keep coming down off the ceiling, driving me nuts. So still nobody's saying anything. So I'm out of here. To you assholes that are here, namaste, motherfuckers. Notice I've been keeping my hands a lot cleaner. I really feel sorry for you boys. Your lives are almost over. They really are. You have very little time left in this world. Your whole way of life, your whole reality is about to come crumbling down in your face. So, good luck in eternity, fuck stains. Happy day. Thanks for watching. Bye.